Good morning. Happy Friday. It is Dr. Ashley Romanchuk, and this is my Focus Breath group, meeting weekdays at 8 a.m. live on Zoom. I do all of this by donation, so my email, it's an email transfer. I always suggest $10, which isn't very much for a class, or $100 for the month. But that's up to you. Like, putting it by donation allows for people that have, maybe an excess of money and want to pay, 18 or 20 bucks, which is typical of a yoga class. And then it also allows people that are from all walks and forms, but it's up to your own integrity and respect, responsibility. It's also a practice of yoga. We don't steal. And this includes intellectual information. So my email is akromanchuk@gmail.com, akromanchuk@gmail.com. We're ending already our 5th week. It's gone by quick. If you're new to class, you can start. You can just start right now. Also, it might be ideal that you go back over some of the previous classes, as it does give foundational and structural knowledge of the breaths that we're doing. Every morning, I suggest opening your bedroom windows if you're in your bedroom or wherever you are in your house, so that you've got fresh oxygen. It's just also a great practice to do in the morning, especially in the bedroom after you've been sleeping for a few hours, and cleanse out the space. If you're lying in your bed, that's great. I love doing breath work from a laying position. It's just not very practical for me to do it teaching that way. Straighten out your spine, basically. Make sure that your shoulders are away from your ears. Your sacrum, the bony triangular bone between your hips, is flat on the bed. Straighten out your hips, shoulders. Breathing aligns the spine. If you're seated, always sit on a cushion to get an anterior tilt into your hips. Plant your sit bones into the ground to make sure they're equal. One doesn't want to be forward or backwards from the other. And then have your hips over your sit bones, ribs over your hips, shoulders over, shoulders back and down, so shoulder blades. And then think of a ribbon up to the roof. That gives space in the cervical spine. And then we're all just going to attune to the breath. Every morning we do the same thing. Breathing in and breathing out, just breathing through your nose. And just noticing your breath, not changing it. It's always a good practice to put your tongue up against the upper palate of your mouth, which I actually learned there's a name for that. Where did I put it? It's called Kejari Mudra, and it's a very medieval practice of Hatha yoga. So, so yoga texts teach that you will have the knowledge from your previous lives carry on into this life. So I always knew to do this. There's basically a special space behind your 2 front teeth, and the very tip of your tongue should sit there. Apparently, this is how the Buddha became enlightened, is he sat by, the special tree that he sat in, and he sat for, I think, a week, 7 days, and he had the tip of his tongue up there, and he went into deep meditation. So put the tip of your tongue up behind your 2 front teeth, upper palate, And start breathing in through your nose, just noticing how you breathe, basically. It's a good time to set an intention. Friday is Friday. Good time to check into how you feel. Your belly should be expanding as you're breathing. You don't want to be breathing from your chest. So we can start deepening this breath. Start lengthening the inhale and the exhale, perhaps for a count of 4. Four is quite the magic number in breath work. Pranayama. So breathing in for 4, in through your nose. And then breathing out, exhaling for 4. You can exhale through your nose or your mouth. It doesn't really matter which one. If you're stressed out, you can let out some sighs with the out breath. It really does dissipate stress from the body. So breathing in for 4. Good way to let out tension from your body. Breathing in for 4, breathing out for 4. That's lion's breath if you've got any heat in your body. I seem to have heat in my body in the past little bit, so I've been doing lots of lion's breath. And yeah, if you've been paying attention and watching me, sometimes I'll do breaths and then I'll go, that's lion's breath. Lets out heat from the body, digestive system, or I don't know. Sometimes we all just get to be robust. Like, I used to, before this pandemic, go to ballet classes in the morning and go to yoga classes, and I do all that stuff still by myself, but it's still not quite the same. So I feel like I've got excess energy, so I'm doing a lion's breath. But don't do that if you don't have excess energy. And if you're cold and stiff, that's not the breath for you. Okay, we're going to start with straightening the breath, practicing the quality of sattva. So basically in yoga, there's 3 energies in the body that we're working with. So it's sattva, peace, rajas, and tamas. And basically between that, we have action and inaction. And we want it all to be imbalanced, basically into a state of peace, sattva. So this breath really helps practice that. We breathe in for 4. Restrain the breath for just a moment. So that means zip it up. Fall into the place of restraint. Notice how peaceful it is here. Just engulf yourself. Let yourself just be in the place of peace. Breathe out for 4. Restrain the breath. That means hold it up. Fall into the place of peace here. Breathe in for 4. Peace. Sattva. Breathe out for 4. Practice then taking this quality of peace and bring it with you as you breathe in and out. Everything's a practice, okay? So you choose as your own sovereign self what qualities you're going to practice. So people that are depressed in life, they practice being down in the dumps. You do have the capacity to change it. And that requires self-discipline, responsibility, integrity, even a sense of self in the first place, which is what yoga does, is it goes, oh, I'm not this, and I don't want to be this, and I'm going to change this, and I don't see this as my highest quality, so I'm going to move this. And that's where it is mastery of self. Our truth is not any of these emotions. Our truth is actually the qualities of peace and love, bliss. This is called the Atman in yoga, the true self. And yoga basically uncovers this. It takes all the qualities away that we thought were ours, which are not ours. Okay, so this includes anger and sadness and even different names and labels and thought processes, qualities of the mind. So practicing this sattvic breath is very important. Breathing in for 4, pause. Breathe out for 4, pause. I'm going to do this for a little bit of time. So do it on your own time. Count for yourself. Practice catching your breath, as I say, so only breathe in when you actually want to, not just because you're counting. If you want to wait a moment until you take your breath in, do that. It's a very important quality to do. Puts you into proper breath timing. And just begin. So breathing in for 4, pause, breathe out for 4, pause. You can start to bring Ujjayi breath into this breath. So Ujjayi breath is the slight constriction of the back of the throat as you're inhaling through your nose and exhaling out. So it starts to bring the breath of the seashore into this. So we're going to breathe in with the Ujjayi breath and just restrain for a moment, and then breathe out with the Ujjayi breath. Restrain for a moment. Every day is different. So it keeps this class fun and playing with the same breaths, but we're changing it up every day a little bit. So it's not boring. So Ujjayi breath, you start to hear the seashore in your breath. You might start to see it in your third eye, and you might start to move with it in your body. Okay? Really circulates the prana, the life force energy around the body, around what's called the nadis. We have a lot of them, 1,000 something, the meridians basically. So. Always keep your tongue up against the roof of your mouth, the upper palate, behind your front teeth. Ujjayi breath is a very, very warming breath. So this is great for anybody that's cold, yin, sore joints, hypothyroid, poor digestion, can be a good one for fatigue. Fatigue can be from being cold in the interior. How do you know you're cold? Is you can't stand drinking cold water, you can't have a cold shower, you can't jump into cold lakes or rivers because it's just too cold for you. You wear a lot of layers, you're stiff. Stiffness is often a sign of cold. Your tendons and ligaments are really tight, your muscles are really tight. It's signs that you're cold on your interior, and Ujjayi breath warms up the body. So Ujjayi breath, it's a great breath, and it is the breath you use in yoga for the movement postures, the asanas, because it warms the body from the interior, so it creates flexibility and like a more limber body. Let's go into our oxygenating breath. We're doing it every day because there's some people here that are just 4. oxygenating the breath after wearing masks in this pandemic, and that's great. I'm glad you're doing that. So breathe in through the mouth and out through the mouth. Very simple. Let the breath out so that the diaphragm just goes. Simple as that. Remember that you only want to take the in-breaths when your body wants to. Don't force yourself to breathe. Wait for the signal that your body wants to breathe again. That might mean some pauses in between breaths. So the people in this class that are cold in nature, that means what I've talked about already, you're going to either keep doing this breath or go back to Ujjayi breath, the breath of the seashore. People that are robust in nature, lots of excess energy, it might be if they're warm, they can go out and not wear very many layers. They might be carrying excess energy, often that's like excess weight in their body. We're going to go into cooling breaths. So this was just introduced this week, is these cooling breaths. great for this full moon, which is in Aries and very warm and hot, heated. So from this, we're going to go into Shatali breath, which is, you can see me, we fold our tongue and we're going to breathe in through our mouth, but through our tongue, and then out. I'm going to do this for the next several breaths. So. Okay, so if you're breathing, as we do every class, and you want to start moving your spine, because breathing moves the spine. Safe ways to do so is yeses and nos with your head, and we'll do some neck exercises. Okay, so yes. No. Looking your eyes to your armpit. If you want, you very gently put your arm over your head. Do not push your head. Do not strain your neck. And then rise, put your head up to the with your ribbon, and then go the other way. And rise and straighten out your head. And you do your ear to your shoulder. Very gently. See. Breathing normal. Here's how different you might feel. So I very easily enter a state of meditation. Practice this for a long time. I don't need to be doing these breaths. I'm teaching them. But the whole practice of pranayama is to do these breaths to move energy from the body so that you actually come into a very subtle breath. And that's real pranayama. The real pranayama is when you're in this breath that it's almost like you're still and it's subtle, and it's the breath that allows you to go into deep meditation and to samadhi. Various states of samadhi, there's different ways. There are different levels of samadhi. And samadhi is basically entering pure consciousness, pure conscious bliss. You really sense what it is to be your true self, which is Atman in yoga. So when I'm teaching these, I'm already in this state of this very subtle breath. And as you progress in yoga, you find that you just want to stay there. And that's what's pretty cool about it. So for this moment in this class, I find that I personally am in this very subtle state where I could very easily go into meditation right now. But I'm teaching this class, so then I'm like, I guess we'll go into this breath. But I am, for me, for my body, I don't actually want to do it very much. So I'll continue with the class and maybe practice a little bit, but I don't have very much of a need. This is me showing you how you get in touch with yourself, and you take these breaths and you start to notice your own energy, what you need, and how you get into meditation. And through meditation and the very subtle breath and being seated in a very calm seat, which is asana. You can be still for a long time, and it's very regenerating. It's very beautiful. So, well, let's go into Nadi Shodhana, because Nadi Shodhana is just such a great breath to balance. We've done it now for a few weeks, so it's always your right hand, your pinky and your ring finger on your left nostril, middle and pointer on your third eye, and your thumb on your right nostril. We're going to breathe in for 4, plug our right nostril, breathe out for 4 from our left nostril, breathe in for 4 from our left nostril, plug our left nostril, breathe out for 4. We'll do this about 20 times. Everybody count on your own, focus on your own, okay? By doing this, you are within yourself. You have sense withdrawal, which is one of the biggest first things you can do to get into meditation and real yoga. So you withdraw your senses into yourself and focusing on your breath is one of the best ways to do that. So everybody together, pinky, ring finger, left nostril, middle and pointer on your third eye, and thumb on your right nostril. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4, breathe in for 4, breathe out. Okay. last round. Okay, and just stay very still where your head is. Breathe through both nostrils and notice any difference. You might be holding your head in a different position now. So this is where Nadi Shodhana really balances the body. And from this position, it's a good time to do the yeses and nos with your head. So this is how yoga and pranayama, breathing, focused breath, aligns the spine. So yes. And no. Breathing in through your nose and out. Notice how you might feel any difference. Can you see colors in your pineal gland? Like for me, it's purple, which is a very spiritual energy. It's the crown chakra. I often have purple in my third eye when I close my eye. So just breathing here for a few minutes or just a few seconds, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Breathing. Time is an illusion, right? Everybody heard that before. That's what happens when you're in the state of Brahman. Time is an illusion. I have a quote that I'd like to say. And this comes from Chief Crowfoot. So obviously, if you're in Alberta, this is a very famous person. He's the one that signed the treaties. Originally from Blood Reserve and then moved up to Siksika. And his quote comes from April 17th, 1890. I absolutely adore him. I've read a lot about him. And I think he was a great chief. And he was an advanced yogi. I've spent lots of times with Native people, and a lot of Native people are advanced yogis. So he said, "From nowhere we came, into nowhere we go. What is life? It is the flash of a firefly in the night. It is the breath of a buffalo in wintertime. It is the little shadow that moves across the grass and loses itself in the sunset." Very wise. It's very true. You have to be present to feel God and to be with God and be in the state of Brahman. And presence comes through subtle breath, mind off, and this is what yoga does. It teaches how to be present. Okay, so for the end of class, let's go into our detoxifying breaths. Kalabati is my favorite one. If you've got a lot of heat in your body, you might want to do the breath that is out of the mouth. So we'll spend several minutes doing this. I'll show both of them. Always using this drum muscle, always focused on the breath out only. Don't worry about the inhale. Your body inhales for yourself through your diaphragm. And we'll do both of them because we do have time. So let's start with breath out of our mouth. And we always start by inhaling first. And exhale. And then then you can go into another round of that if you're ready, or I'll also show the Kalabati, the shining skull breath too. Always start with an empty channel. So you take a big breath in and you let it out. Empty your central channel before you begin these breaths, okay? So do whatever one is calling you. If none of them is calling you and you've gotten into your subtle breath, stay with your subtle breath. It feels good. I'm going to do another couple of rounds of Kalabati because it feels really good. I love the Kalabati. Very good to restore your energy, increase your spiritual energy. It opens up your highest chakras. We've got chakras 13, 14, 26 feet above our head. It means when they're aligned and they're open and they're cleansed, you are so connected, okay? So this breath really helps with that. But if you still have heat or lots of kind of like toxins in your body or breath, go with the one out of the mouth. It's a very good one. That's the one Bikram also teaches at the end of his classes. If any of you have been to Bikram class, very, 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 very detoxifying. So anybody that smokes or drinks alcohol, that's a breath that you want to be probably doing regularly. If you're having to wear these masks regularly for several hours a day, and you're breathing in your exhaled air, essentially, doing the breath through your mouth is a very powerful detoxifying breath. So on your own time, do another round. Always breathe normal between breaths. Take some sips of water if that's what you need. These breaths, introducing you to them, as you become more advanced, you will know what breath you need. So then you'll go into that breath. So for me, I'm just doing my oxygenating breath right now, very oxygenating. I'm going to go into another round of Kalabati through my nose, out through my nose. If you wish to do another detoxifying breath, go for it. These are great breaths. If you are done for the day, I thank you for coming. I will see you again Monday morning. Please tell family, friends, colleagues, anybody that you feel like might benefit from this. Spreading the good word is how people are starting to know about this. And I thank you, for sure. Namaste means the light in me is the same as the light in you. And I bow, I'm in gratitude. I see you, I see me in you, I see you in me. We are one. That's what Namaste means. It means I'm in divine reverence, gratitude, union. So for those leaving the class at this time, again, my email is akromanchuk@gmail.com. It's written on my Focus Breath group. Email transfers are, how I am doing this class by donation, and I thank you. I'm going to do another round of Kalabati, and then I always end with Nom. I would suggest oming. It's another very good way to come into yoga, union, mind, body, soul. Also very, very, very healing for the body. So. In yoga, we say Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Peace pervades. May peace pervade everywhere. Everybody, every bit of